Yeah. Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday, our Tech Tuesday. And for those who were in Durban, we had an amazing product expose, I suppose you could call it, on Saturday. And going from where they were a bit nervous that it was actually there were going to be enough people, to having to add in about 3 or 4 extra rows of chairs to a packed house. It was,
Typical Durban.
yeah,
Typical.
it was very good. And we had Lebo and Connie, and both did excellent jobs. And there was a lot of interest because we got to sort of mix and mingle with people, and there was a lot of very interesting questions being asked and very intelligent questions being asked. Got to explain a few things to a few people, which made them happy, and got Connie involved with that as well. And then they sort of quickly had to demolish everything because the people from Joburg had to get back. But it was very well attended. It went on from 10 until we finished about 12:30, 1-ish. And then Connie did Lebo did another little sub breakaway with one of the other teams. But it was very, very well attended, with a lot of guests who could mingle and mix and check out everything. And I found it very interesting that most of them congregated around Eddie and Aceza at the cleaning products table more than anywhere else.
What table?
Absolutely.
The cleaning products table, the golden table.
Good.
They were asking a lot of questions.
Yeah. And Aceza has got some fascinating information about cleaning products and how it relates to weight management and cancers and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
She's got it on there.
yeah. So I thought what I would do is
Mother's Day, and
Yeah.
got lots of family with mothers on the other side, and oh my God, what a nightmare.
but it was good.
Worked out. Yeah, that's
Good. So I thought what I would do tonight was I would share Connie's talk that she did, which I found very, very interesting. She likes to mix things up a little bit, and instead of doing the same old, she always comes up with new information. And I went, okay, I like it. She says, yes, you guys stretch me, so I'm going to keep doing this. I said, good, I'm going to keep stretching you. So she obviously spoke about nutrition and how to essentially simplify nutrition. Nutrition shouldn't be this big scary thing that only professionals can do. So she gave a very easy breakdown as to where we fit into making good health and nutrition simple and easy. So let me share my screen. Let me find my video here first of all. Hide all these other bits and pieces that we don't need. And okay, so please note, none of this work is mine. This is all Connie, and she's done a brilliant job over here. But it was the Near Life product experience. And start off by saying the real challenge isn't knowledge. I mean, we are exposed to so much knowledge these days. Anybody who has access to a smartphone or a computer can literally find any information that they want. There's a lot of scary stuff out there, and there's a lot of very good knowledge out there. And anybody can essentially have the same training as somebody who's been to Harvard or any of these big varsities, and it is all freely available. So it's not that we are short of knowledge. That's not the challenge. What we are short of is understanding. And we need to know the exposure of why it happens. Why does bad health happen? If we know all the information, why are there so many sick people around? And for those who don't know me, I work in the medical field, and I'm in and out of hospitals all the time. And we have to In fact, we've got 3 big hospitals down here on the coast, and I work between 2 of the bigger ones. And both of those hospitals are full to overflowing to the extent that one is busy expanding at the moment. So if we've got so much knowledge, why are people still getting sick? Because this is where the friction comes in. Why does it continue? First of all, why does it happen? And then why does it continue? And then we need to figure out why it matters. So the exposure. Health is strongly influenced by repeated daily inputs. And again, we are exposed to so much stuff. If you are on social media, you are being influenced by this doctor and this expert and that expert. There's so much available over there. I was listening to a story yesterday, I think it was, on one of the podcasts, and they were talking about marketing. And there's some guy overseas who's built a multi-billion-dollar business through AI. And he's basically put up like 700 odd different pages of this doctor and that doctor, and it is all AI and it's purely marketing. There's no actual knowledge behind it. And then we need to look at diet patterns. These are not single individual meals. So diet in general, not you have a bit of junk food here and you have a little bit of junk food there. It's in general. And that's what drives the final outcome. And your exposome, I'm not 100% sure on the definition of that word. It might even be a typo, but this is equal to total lifetime exposure. Because I read somewhere just recently as well that said the heart attack at 40 started at 20. The stroke at 50 started at 30. The fractured hip at 60 started at 25. So it's your total lifetime exposure to bad stuff, bad nutrition, poor choices. And the dose and frequency matter more than the single exposure. The toxicologist would tell you that the poison is in the dose. We can happily have arsenic. In fact, there's arsenic in a few natural foods. But if you have just a trace element of it, it's not going to do anything to you. If you have about a gram of it, it'll kill you very, very rapidly. Same with radiation. I've worked in a couple of oncology units over the years. And when you have radiotherapy, they give you a little dose every day for 5 days at a time, give you a couple of days break, and they keep that going for 6 weeks. If they had to give you that total dose in one go, they would kill you. So it's the dose and the frequency that matter more than the single exposure. Friction. A lot of people have got good intentions. Yeah, 1st of January every year. Hey, this year it's going to be different. This year I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to run, I'm going to walk, but good intentions do not equal behavior, because by the 2nd of January, it's so hot today. I really don't feel like going out. I'm still suffering from Christmas dinner. And it's cold this morning. Yeah, that sort of thing. I really don't feel like going to the gym or going to do parkrun or whatever. Time and effort are major barriers. We live busy lifestyles. I spend my day running around from early in the morning to late at night. When I clocked out this afternoon, I discovered I'd worked a 10-hour day. So there's not a lot of time to do stuff. And that can put a bit of a barrier in your good intentions. And people, we all do it, just as guilty, probably more guilty than most people. You default to what's easiest. Again, I was listening to a podcast on the way home, and you're saying, we all know what we should do. You get home, you should be messaging 5 people, but it's a heavy day. It's been 10 hours of slog, and brain fog and all the rest. And that couch, man, we're fortunate to be able to inherit some new couches recently, and they're wonderful because they're nice and soft, and they've got a little footrest that pops out, and you can come home and you're just fresh. It's wonderful. It's easy, but it's not getting you where you need to be. And then the accumulation. So chronic disease is cumulative, not immediate. You don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, heck, I've got type 2 diabetes, but what happened? Yesterday I was young, fit, and healthy, and today I'm about 20 kilos overweight and I've got diabetes. How did that happen? Unlike you walk along and you miss a step and you fall down and you break an ankle. Different story. But I'll get back to the fracture femurs because those are some of the things that I get to fix quite regularly. And you have these little old ladies and you say, well, what happened? Well, I'm not too sure. I was out in the garden. I was walking in the garden. I must have stood on a stick because I suddenly stumbled. I heard this, and then I hit the ground, and that's when I broke my leg. But actually, it's not because they ignored the calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D from the age of 23. So they were losing the bone density. And as they got older, the muscle tone became less. And as a result of that, the balance became worse. And yes, they found an uneven, sorry, spot in the grass or on the path, and they stumbled, and that wasn't them standing on a broken stick, it was their femur breaking before they hit the floor. That is chronic disease cumulative because it's osteoporosis. It didn't just happen instantly. And risk is driven by repeated exposure. That one fast food hamburger that you have twice a year isn't going to cause a problem. That one fast food hamburger that you have every day, 5 days a week, is going to cause a problem. That bad seed oil that you're frying your food in on a daily basis is repeated exposure. It's going to cause a problem. The odd bit here and there, no. Same as sunshine. If you go out in the sunshine at midday and you're out there for 5 minutes, nothing's going to happen. You spend 6 hours a day in wearing very little clothing out in that African sun, your risk for developing skin cancer is extremely high. It's repeated exposure. And small effects compound over time. Now, this can be equal for bad and good. And James Clear always says in his book, Atomic Habits, that he says exactly this, small effects compound over time. And he says you need to aim to get 1% better every day. Eric Worre says the same thing, because if you get 1% better every day, by the end of the year, it's compounded and the results are amazing. If you get 1% worse every day, it actually becomes a negative and that figure becomes a whole lot bigger. I'm not a mathematician, so I'll let you go and read that whole story and figure it out for yourself. But be aware that small effects compound over time, just like the infamous story of would you like, what's it, $1 million in cash straight away, or would you like a penny a day doubled for 30 days? I'll let you figure that one out too. And the body adapts to repeated inputs. We call it muscle memory. So for an athlete, muscle memory plays a big part. I had my eyes tested recently, and optometrist was sorting out my arms and my glasses, and he was saying, "Oh, you've got to be careful, but it's, this comes from years of muscle memory and knowing exactly how much." And I know I do the same thing in my work when I'm bending steels and that sort of thing. It's muscle memory. You know how much tension to put on. If you're doing parkrun, you know when to move faster, you know when to go slower, when you've done the same track numerous times. I've done the same track 304 times already. I know where to go, and I don't even really have to focus that closely anymore because my legs know what to do, and your body adapts to those repeated inputs. Same thing. My body has adapted to the fact that I can do it in just so much time, and to try and force myself to do a couple of seconds faster takes a lot of hard work. And the same goes for our diet. And the other problem that we have is there's no reset between days. So you can't do the bad behavior and then go, let's just turn it off and turn it back on again, like you do with the computer that misbehaves. You turn it off, leave it for a few seconds, and you turn it back on. Same goes with your phone, and suddenly all the problems have gone away, and you can start afresh. It doesn't happen with us. And this is why most health solutions don't work. There's too much information, sometimes conflicting health claims and messaging. Again, no matter where you look, there's this expert telling you that everything that everybody else says is a load of junk. And then there's another one that says, don't listen to this one. This is the correct truth. And then there's another one that says, this is... There's a lot of conflicting health claims and messaging. And we are swamped with this information. And also there's a lot of lack of clarity and transparency. I know this when I'm doing my research for my articles that I do on LinkedIn. To try and get the correct information, I've got to cross-reference numerous different areas. And then I've got to basically check and see that area over there, have they got the science to back it up? And that's what I like about our near life stories, because on our website, wherever it says fast facts, at the end, there's a lot of fine print that's got, and even in the news you can use, there's always at the end of every one of those articles, there's a whole lot of very fine print, which if you use a magnifying glass, you'll be able to see it. But every single one of them has got the backup of the research. They'll say, it has been stated in research, and there's a little star, and they'll take you back, and you can then go and do your own research and read the original article, because that's where you get your clarity and your transparency. It's not just they say. And as John Miller says, who is they and where do they get their information from before they say? And then there's a cost and value concern. You go into a health shop or a chain store and you look at the nutrition aisle and you go there and you go, ish, there's about 3 or 4 shelves of vitamin B, vitamin C, and this multivitamin and that multivitamin. And you've got 4 different vitamin C's, and this one is 30 Rand and that one's 300 Rand. Which one are you going to go for if you don't know the difference? There's cost and there's value. We know that with our vitamin C, the value certainly gives can equate to the cost. Whereas most people go, well, this is 30 Rand, this is 300 Rand. I'm going to go for the 30 Rand one. It's vitamin C. It's the same thing, isn't it? But it's not. And then a lot of these articles and things have difficulty acting consistently. Even people have difficulty acting consistently. And consistency is the key for anything. If you consistently eat bad food, you are going to have illness. If you consistently exercise every day, you are going to get fitter. But that's more difficult than eating the junk food and relaxing on the couch, like I would like to, and most of us would as well. So there's difficulty in acting consistently. I mean, if you're in Cape Town at the moment, you probably don't want to go and take a jog around the block. You would probably be flying around the block more than jogging. But if you skip that for more than one day, you're going to have a problem. And the desire for clean and understandable products is there. People are starting to figure out that there is a difference between cost and value, but they don't know who to trust. So they're looking for those healthy, natural, clean, not natural duck feathers, natural pine bark. They're looking for natural food and information that they can understand. Anybody can understand. You don't need a PhD to do it. And they're looking for holistic expectations. So, if you just take this thing, it's going to do that. It's no disrespect to the medical field, but you go to a doctor and you say, I've got a sore knee. They look at your sore knee and they say, take this painkiller or anti-inflammatory for 2 weeks and come back and see me. They don't say, well, let's have a look at this whole lot. What's caused it? What happened? They don't always have time to do that. And this is where we come in. Neolife is us. And they give us a practical system that is simple enough to use daily. Pro-Vitality. How difficult is it to open the box, take out a sachet, look at the 4 tablets, get a glass of water and go, oops, done. Thank you very much. I've covered my antioxidants, I've covered my anti-inflammatories, I've covered my multivitamin and minerals, and I've covered my grain oils. Simple. Can be done every single day out of problem, because when you open the box, there's a sachet over there. When you get to number 25, you put in your order for the next one. Very, very simple. And they are structured for consistency. So we know that in the Tree NN that you're getting today, the amount of grain oils is exactly the same as in the Tree NN that you're going to get in a month's time. And it's exactly the same as the Tree NN that you got 6 years ago, because it's structured for consistency. And it supports the whole body, not just the symptoms. Symptoms are simply, it's like road signs. When you're driving along and you see a sign over there, it says Bloemfontein. That's the body. But how do we get there? We've got to, if you're following your GPS, you've got to hang a left over here, and you've got to hang a right over there, and you've got to go through that detour over there. And those are the symptoms. Final body is the Bloemfontein. And we need to support the body, because our body, as we all know, are made up of a whole mess of different cells. And your fingernail cells are different to your fingerprint cells. So with Neolife, they support the body, not just the fingernail. That is more clear for you. And it works across nutrition, personal care, and home care. Because, as we know with Iseza, she always says, a lot of our cleaning products have phthalates in them, which are hormone interrupters, which leads to cancers, hormone-related cancers. It leads to weight gain. And you thought your hair conditioner was giving your hair bounce, when it's actually causing you to put on extra weight. And you thought that was because of your diet. It's not. And that's why we have a practical clean system that is green, the original green, with home care that is biodegradable, non-toxic, multi-purpose, personal care, pretty much the same, and nutrition that's made from food, organic, non-GMO, proper food. And then she gave this very, very nice little chart over here. I'll try and isolate it at some stage and put it on the group. But the Neolife range, so you just get me out of the way over here. The challenge is too much confusion. We don't know what's needed. So we give facts, not misleading claims. And the Neolife approach, because it's guided by the Scientific Advisory Board and with a structured system. The challenge is lack of transparency in most things. We know that we need trust and clarity. And where do we get it? We have long-standing quality standards, plus ingredients, focused approach from a whole lot of different organizations who are umbrella organizations for national companies and international. cost and value concerns. We give long-term value, not just, oh, we want your money quickly and oh, geez, you charge so much. And it is a system approach versus isolated products. Because remember, vitamin C doesn't just work on its own, or vitamin B12 doesn't work on its own, needs a whole lot of things. The challenge is hard to stay consistent. We make it simple, and it's designed for daily routines. There's a desire for clean and simple. So we make products that are understandable. People know what broccoli is. They know what garlic is. They know what whole grains are. And we use a food-based, naturally derived ingredient philosophy. Again, whole food, non-GMO, organic. And the challenge is fragmented solutions. We look at a holistic approach, both nutrition and personal care and a home care system. So it covers all of the bases of where health problems come about. So what does this look like in actual practice? We need to not aim for perfect. You're never going to get perfect, but you need to aim for consistent. It's like playing golf, or most of us who are not golfers, if you've ever played a game of putt-putt, or even 10-pin bowling. Perfect, well, say 10-pin bowling, perfect is getting 10 strikes in a row. Consistent is getting at least 1 strike every second throw. We need to simplify our daily choices. Don't go along like some of these diet plans and say, well, you need 10 grams of this and you need 15 grams of that, and you've got to take this tablet at 10:35 a.m. and that tablet at 12:15 a.m. and you must have 4 glasses of water before you take the... We need to simplify it. And you build your foundation first. You don't start building a house at the roof and work your way down. If your foundation is strong, again, we'll liken to Cape Town. What's blowing off at the moment? Not the foundations, the roof. If your foundation is strong, look at the trees. If your trees are not going down deep, they fall over. If your tree's foundation and root structure is correct, it can withstand all the gales. And we need to let results come over time. You're not going to have a full motion tablet tonight and tomorrow your arthritis has disappeared. Doesn't work like that. The results come over time. As I often tell my patients, when they come to me with sore feet, I say, by the time that you feel the pain in your heel, the problem has been there for upwards of 6 months. You didn't wake up this morning and go, oh, ouch, I've got a problem in my heel. You probably did, but you didn't realize that the problem had been building up. Same thing, you don't wake up in the morning and go, oh, heck, I've got type 2 diabetes. How did that happen? Or you wake up and you go, where did my feet go? Can't see them. Didn't happen overnight. It happened over time. So we're not going to lose the weight instantly either. We've got to lose it over time. And that was that. Yeah, that was Connie's summary. Okay. Ansi, can you give me your feedback on what you experienced on Saturday as well? Because I know you moved around a couple of the tables more than I did.
It was very excellent, just the same as your talk tonight. Yeah, not one of these things are new to us, but as we all know, and the question is, are we doing what we're supposed to do? And it's amazing to see how many young people there is really interested in the products. And also at the home cleaning products, I couldn't help laughing, you know, with due respect to all the different nationalities that we have, and that, like this one Indian lady, we all know how awesome they work together to contribute to the housekeeping. And this lady was very interested in the G1 laundry. So she said to Isiza, Isiza had a little container with 3 scoops in, and she opened it and she smelled it. And she wants to put a little bit in her hand. Isiza said, what are you doing? She said, no, I want to give it to my family so that they can try it. Then I will buy the G1 laundry, and then they can buy all the expensive chemicals. Yeah, so you know what? Yeah, you learn a lot. You learn a lot. And unfortunately, for those who weren't there, you can't bring it's like watching a rugby game on TV. It's not the same. And even Sean did an excellent talk tonight, but we all miss if you don't go, because all of our needs or what we have to know or what we don't know, we miss out if you are not there. It's a pity, but that's true. That's all.
Perfect. Thanks. We've got about 5 minutes left. Hopefully, I don't run out of time tonight. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Because Connie said, this presentation is free to use for anybody. So if you want it, I can always forward on the email as well. Yeah. Right. I'm going to stop the recording now.